Hello YouTube, it is Friday the 1st of September. I'm just going to focus on my day to day. I haven't got much in terms of a lesson to learn, to share. I'll give you my daily and my weekly stats from this week, and then I'll make my way back on home. I am going to start just staying still for my videos to try and improve the sound quality. I think I need to get a better microphone set up. I got a cheap microphone which isn't particularly very good, I don't think, or it's too good because it picks up all the road noise as well. So I'm going to just try not driving for a bit and see if that makes a difference, and I'm going to try and choose a nice picturesque view for when I do my videos. So I found this place and I thought that'll do for me. Also, I was going to go to the park next door to me, but they had a barrier I couldn't get through, so I have to stay here. So I will pick up on last night. I had quite a busy night last night. If you watched yesterday's video, I was by the sea in Torquay, and then I wanted to get just out of Torquay to do a video on tramping, which I did do. But as I was travelling out of Torquay, a job came up from a place called Crediton going to Pershore, Worcester way. So I didn't think I was. I looked at jobs around Torquay as I was going down towards it to drop off my load, and there wasn't an awful lot of coming out of Torquay. So I thought I'd have to wait till the morning. So I put a bid on this job. It was £150, and if I tell you the mileage for it, it was 137 miles, so just over £1 a mile for a small van job. And then I just ignored it, and I made my way through Torquay, and it was quite a nice evening. Quite a lot of stuff going around the harbour there. Very hilly in Torquay. I didn't realise how hilly it was. And then I got a call probably about 15 minutes after I put the bid on, 20 minutes, and I was offered the job, and the job said collect before 6 o'clock in the morning. So I thought, well, I could collect it tonight and then sort of make my way over to Pershore tonight. But what they wanted was pick up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and so I did it. I did take it, but I said that I would just head over to Crediton and tramp there for the night, and then I would pick it up and move on in the morning. That was me picking up the job at that price was the start of quite a long and in-depth job, and I actually quite enjoyed the whole experience, to be fair. It's a situation where things kept going wrong, but I was in a position to solve them. So I was like the problem solver, and I like that. I like being able to do that. And the guy I was working for was really nice and really fair as well, and I just wanted to do a good job for him. So let me tell you about what happened. So the first thing that he suggested or asked me to do was, could I pick up some items on my way from Torquay to Crediton last night, because there was stuff that otherwise he'd have to bring to me in the morning, and I was quite happy to do that. And when I looked at where it was on the way from my journey from where I was going out to Crediton. So I was quite happy to do that for no extra charge, and said I would do that for no extra charge. And so he gave me instructions through WhatsApp, and then I made my way to the place in Torquay, on the outskirts of Torquay, picked up the items, and then made my way across to Crediton. And I wanted to double check the pickup point because it's a factory and it's an industrial estate, and sometimes they can be hard to find. So I got my way to the factory. I went in, there was someone in the office, and I explained to him that I was here for the load for tomorrow morning. I'll be out parking outside, but I'll be available if it's ready beforehand. I gave him my number. And he said, oh, that could be, you know, it could be in the middle of the night. And I said, that's okay. I don't know why I said that, because I didn't sleep very well off the back of that. Anyway, so I thought it was a good thing to do, and I think in hindsight it was a bit of a silly thing to do. I was in a kind of let's do a great job mode, and I probably should have done that. And in the end, I think he didn't call me in the end, so it didn't make a difference. So I then found somewhere to tramp, and I did my tramping video last night where I was. I did, just a quick side note, I did try and find somewhere to tramp right on the industrial estate, but there was quite a steep hill, and I parked up outside the. I went down to the bottom of the hill and parked up, and there was WO lines, and I thought, oh, I'm not going to be sure in the morning I can stay here, even though it'd probably be okay. Then I went up the hill, and I was parked on the hill where there's no WO lines, right by the entrance to the factory, but it was right up quite a steep hill, and I thought, I can't be in the back of my van relying on my handbrake to stop me going down the hill. It would be, and also I'll be sleeping I'll be falling out of bed. So I moved on up the top of the hill, and it was flat at the top and a lot of space. It's a perfect place for me to tramp, close to where I was going to go, level, and no parking restrictions, and quiet. So in the end I found a good place. So I did that, and then I set my alarm for 5 o'clock, and then tried to get some sleep. I woke up naturally about 3 o'clock and didn't really get to sleep much. I dozed until my alarm went off. I reset my alarm for 5:30, and then it went off 5:30, and I got up, got myself packed away, and straight into the factory at 10 to 6. There's no one in the office at this time. I met someone in the yard and just indicated that I was there for a load. He said to me that they had been in shutdown overnight and only started working from 4 o'clock, so they were still catching up. So I went and waited in my van, and I thought it was quite busy. There was lots of lorries outside, and I now know they were all waiting to get loaded up and fueled up. At that time I thought they might have been part of the companies around the unit. So I parked up in a gap, and I waited and I waited. Come 6:30, I texted the shipper and said it's been half an hour. I explained what's going on, and that it's likely to be longer. And then at 7 o'clock I said the same thing. It's been another half an hour, no sign yet. I then went and had a chat with someone, and he said he would remind them that I was here. And then at 7:20 I got a call from the shipper, and he asked me if I could leave the site, go back to where I was last night in Torquay to collect some more items, and then come back to the site, and then by then they should have got the pallet ready. So I was happy to do that. The choice was I do that or he does it, and I thought, I'm not going to sit here waiting and do nothing. I'd rather be driving. I'd really rather be doing something than sitting and waiting. So I drove off back to Torquay, got onto the site I was last night, and now there was people there. I couldn't really park anywhere, wasn't in their way, so I kept being asked to move, but in a very nice way. They weren't nasty about it. Eventually I just parked at the entrance to the drive up to the yard, and then I was waiting for the owner to arrive to give me the stuff I needed, and I was waiting for about 10-15 minutes, and then the guy came and gave me some more stuff, and then I went back towards Crediton. I gave a picture of what I'd given to my shipper and a description of what the items were, and then about 10 minutes into my journey back he rang me to say there was still some things to pick up, because the person that had given me the items wasn't the owner, and he hadn't quite arrived on site yet. So I had to go back again and then meet the owner, and he gave me a handful of items, and then I had everything I needed from them. So then I made my way back across to Crediton and went to the factory, and I did something I did for the first time today. Well, I've done a couple of things for the first time today. The first thing was I went. It was one of those sites which has a big sign for safety and lots of rules, safety rules. I couldn't really see the point because it was just looked like quite a quiet. It looks more like a warehouse type environment, so I didn't think it was very dangerous. But everyone that came onto the site was wearing a hard hat, and all the staff was wearing a hard hat. And I felt when I walked into the office, I probably stood out like a sore thumb not wearing a hard hat. So I decided to get my hard hat out of its wrapper, and for the first time I put it on my head. And then I was directed to go to another part of the yard, and then I could see why you needed to wear it, because it was really busy. It was definitely a manufacturing unit. There's lots of activity going on, lots of things, very heavy things being moved around. So I can see why you needed a hard hat now. I sort of went to the back of the building where there's a lot more activity. At the front where the office was very much more quiet. So eventually I got some paperwork and I got to the right part of the depot, and I waited, and I just got Forky's attention, gave him the paperwork, and he seemed to know what I was there for. So I opened my van and waited for the load. He went and got a pallet for me. I put it on and I strapped it up, and then he said that there was 2 items missing, and that those items would need to have a hole drilled in them, and they needed permission to do that. And I asked how long would that take, and he said 4 to 5 hours. So I rang the shipper and explained the situation. We both agreed it would make no sense for me to stay for 4 or 5 hours, and that best if I just go with what I've got. So he let his customer know. I did my paperwork, got the photos all uploaded, and I made my way towards Pershore. So at this point, by the time I got loaded and left, it was 10:15, and I'd arrived for a pickup at 6 o'clock. So it felt like quite a long day already, and I hadn't really done anything, just picked up a load. On my way to drop this off, the shipper had already, very early in the morning, he'd already added £20 on to my price to make it 170 for the pickup I did in the night before, from on the way from Torquay to Crediton, which I thought was very nice of him. I hadn't asked for it, and I wasn't expecting anything. And then he said, after I'd loaded up, he said that for all the things I'd done today, and the waiting time and the delays, he was going to add another £80 on. And I said I thought that was very fair, and I was pleased and I accepted that. So in total, I knew at this point, when I left the Crediton factory, this job was going to get me £250, which is what my target is after fuel. So I just had to get this unloaded and then find another job to get home, and then day done. Easier said than done there. So I got myself towards Worcester way, Pershore way, and I was going to a solar farm, so it wasn't necessarily very easy to find. It was in the middle of the country, and I had some instructions and I had a phone number to ring. So I called the number 45 minutes beforehand, and I had a really bad line, and he told me some instructions, but I couldn't really hear him. It's just too bad. So I sort of got enough to think I'll get in the right general area. But I did hear that there was no forklift on site, but there was people to help me, which is the main thing. So I got myself to the right postcode. I went into a farm and asked the lady there if she knew where this solar farm was, and she did. She pointed me in the right direction, and then I got on site, and the first place was a security office, and I didn't have any the paperwork I had was really minimal. It didn't have any customer details on about where it was going to. The only information I had was the address of the solar farm and a first name of a contact, which I rang. So I told security what I was there for. He didn't know where I was going to go, so he just said go to the site office, which was quite a long way in the future, because in the distance, I could see it. It was quite a big site, quite a big solar farm. So I made my way towards the site office, and then there were some people there. I asked them if they knew what was going to do this stuff, and they didn't have a clue. So at this point, I rang my contact again, and he said that I'd gone too far. I had to go to a substation part of the site. So I went back, I found the substation part, and I found one of his colleagues, and then between us we unloaded the pallet and all the other items that were on my van. I took a photo, which is what my shipper wanted. I uploaded that to his WhatsApp message, did my paperwork, got it all signed, and then I explained that there's 2 things missing, but I think the guy there already knew. And then I made my way off site, and just as I was leaving, the shipper rang me and asked if I could let them know that a second driver would be there at 6 o'clock today. So I passed the message on and then got myself off site. And by the time I'd finished that and offloaded, it was 25 past 2. And I had to rush off because I had a pickup that I'd won at 3 o'clock from Worcester, and it was 25 minutes to get there. So I was really on the right side of getting there on time, but it was going to be tight. So I did, on the way up, bid on a variety of jobs that were suitable, and I got, and I'll tell you about this one, because it wasn't one that I got straight away. So it was a job that was advertised from 2 o'clock pickup. There wasn't a range, and I was due to get to Pershore at 2 o'clock, and this pickup was in Worcester, which is 25 minutes away, so effectively half an hour away. So I said in my notes, I bid on it. I bid £150 on it. It was a large wheelbase, a long wheelbase job going from Worcester to Slough, and I wasn't sure from the notes. It seemed like there might be some handballing, so I that's the bid I put on 150, and the actual miles is 118. And so I put that on, but I knew in the notes I said I can get to you for 2:30. I know that might be too late for you, just to let you know. And I left it, and I got a call about half an hour later, and I did say to him, I'm on my way to my drop off now. I'll be there about 2 o'clock, but it's a farm, so I don't know how quickly I'm going to be. So he decided he couldn't risk me being late to his pickup, so he said, he hasn't need you, but I'm going to try and find someone else. So the job on the CX came up again, exactly the same details, 2 o'clock pickup, and everything was the same, but my bid stayed on the system. So effectively I had my bid and exactly the same job as a new job. So what I read into that was that the shipper wasn't necessarily discounting my bid, but he was looking to see if somebody else was closer or cheaper. And I could understand that because I wasn't going to get there on time. So I was happy with that, but I was happy that my bid stayed on the system. This would have been about 12ish. This came on, so plenty of time for someone to get this job up. So I carried on driving up towards my drop off, and within the next half an hour or so, the job came on again, but it came on from 1:30 to 3 o'clock pickup, and that was bang in my window. I could then pick that up. So I put the same quote on 150, and I assumed that I might therefore get it because I had the call previously. About 10 minutes later I got a call and they gave me the job. And I did say I'll definitely get there for 3 o'clock now that you've changed the time. So I kind of reassured them I would get there. But then as soon as I said that, I put the phone down. I thought, you've now got to do that. You've got to find this place, get unloaded and get across there in the hour that you've got. So if anything goes wrong, you're going to be in trouble. So I ended up having to rush when I was on site, because by the time I got to the site, it was 2:05. By the time I signed in, got to the site office, rung the guy, got to the correct place, it was 2:15. Yeah, nearly 2:20, and then the guy who was going to help me unload was in the van, and you know when you're in a rush, and the people around you don't realise you're in a rush, and they're not, and you've got to kind of try and indicate I'm busy here. I had two guys who were in the office, and then a guy that was going to help me in a van, and I arrived, and the guys in the office were they're very jovial and jokey, and very kind of lads. But I needed to have some information. I needed to know, where am I putting this stuff, and who's going to help me. And I didn't need them to be joking and saying, "Oh, your boss over there on the phone, look, he's with his girlfriend," or whatever it was they were saying. They were just messing about. They're being nice, but I just didn't have the time to engage in that. Also, to be fair, and I'm going to be honest here, as I've got older, I haven't got much of a sense of humour now when it comes to people. When it comes to films, and I get to stand-up comedy quite a lot. I do have a sense of humour, but when it comes to kind of being funny with people, I just can't bother with it anymore. I used to be quite sarcastic and dry-witted when I was younger, and quite quick-witted, I suppose, to some extent. But as I got older, I just can't be arsed with it. It's just, I find some things funny on TV, and that's what I stick to. People, they think they're funny. I just think, oh, just let me get on with my day, please. I appreciate you trying to be nice, but I don't think you're funny. That doesn't make me. I know that doesn't make me sound very nice. So, but it's open and honest, which is what I'm meant to do with these videos. And I recognise that as I got older, I'm getting less humorous. Let's put it that way. So where was I? Yeah, so these guys were trying to be funny, and I was thinking, oh, I don't need this, please let me just tell me where to go. So I said to the guy in the van, really, I haven't got time for this, please can you just tell me where to go? I've got to get off. And then he got off the phone, he helped me, and then I thanked him very much for helping me at the end, and got me to sign my card and asked him his name and said thank you. And so I don't think I offended him, but I just needed to get off. I left the site, as I said, at 2:25, and I had 25 minutes to get across to Worcester. Oh, and this is the other thing. The booking that I had didn't have a postcode for my pickup. Now, usually you can just do it from the name, but because I was half an hour away, and there wasn't even a road. It just had a business park name and Worcester. So I tried to put the name of the company in, but it had several branches, and I was in such a rush. I just thought, I can't guess and then get it wrong. I knew it was going to happen. I was going to guess that this was the branch, put my sat nav in to go there, and then end up in the wrong town. So I just rang the shipper and said, please can you tell me the postcode. So I had I went towards Worcester. I knew I was in the right direction for Worcester, but then I had to ring and get the postcode. And then after a bit of period, they told me that, and I had the security of knowing the exact postcode. When I got to that pickup place, it was a couple of pallets, and I was a bit worried that I had to handball it off at the other end. But I just thought, I can't worry about it now. Just get this on and get off. It was 10 to 3 that I arrived, so I was in time, and I left site at 3:05, having secured the 2 pallets. And this time I used my edging protectors, which are brilliant. They're like my new best device now. I stuck I spoke about recently my concerns about cellophane pallets, and one of the comments was about getting blankets, which I already had, and edging protectors, which I didn't have. So I got some, and I used them today, and they were really good. And what I did was I put 2 straps over, 2 pallets, put 1 strap over the top with edging protectors over the boxes, so that it protected the boxes. And on the front pallet, I did the same thing, 1 strap over the top with edging protectors. But then I noticed it was on cellophanes on pallets, and I thought, if I brake, it might slide off the pallet still, even because I can't put a lot of compression down because they're boxes. So I put two edging protectors, half on the pallet and half on the cardboard box on the vertical, and then put another strap around the front of a pallet, and that seemed like an obvious and secure way to stop stuff falling off the pallet if it was cellophane on. So I'm really pleased about that. They were really cheap. They're only about £15 for 10, maybe £20 for 10. I definitely would recommend them. You can stick the hook of the strap through the actual plastic of the edge protector, or you can just have it over the top. I prefer to put it through, like in and out the protector, but the problem with that is when I finish, you've got to undo it, you've got to take it out again. It's a bit of a faff. So I'm not going to do it all the time. I'm going to put it just over the top of the protectors if it's going to stay in place. So I took that load to Slough, and then I realised my Slough address didn't have a postcode either. So this shipper who gave me this job wasn't particularly efficient with their information, and it was a German overnight parcel service. So I thought, because they were German, that they might be a bit more efficient at taking deliveries than other overnight delivery services I've been to. So I made my way over there. I wasn't quite sure if I was going to be there in time because the Google said it was closed, but I got to the gate, pressed the button, and thankfully the gates opened. I got there at 6:15. I thought I was going to get there for 5:30, but traffic today has been so bad on the motorways. Coming up from Torquay across to Worcester, it took me for so long, mainly because of motorway traffic, and then from across the M25, and I went down the M40, M25, M1, coming back. They're all in patches quite busy. I'm assuming it's because it's the end of the summer holidays. Anyway, so I got that unloaded, and I had to give them some ID, and they took some details, and then they forklifted it off. So no handballing. Hooray! So in the end, really easy. I've just realised that my microphone's gone off, so I don't know whether the sound on this is working at all. So I shall. What should I do? Should I carry on? I'm going to try and carry on. I can't face doing this whole video again. So if you're hearing this, then I've basically given up and given it to you. I'm giving it to you as it is. So where are we? Oh yeah, got offloaded at Slough, and I was finished and off site by 6:05. So really, that was the end of my day. I did look at jobs, but there's no way I was going to get a job, and I made my way back home, which is what I'm doing at the moment. I stopped off on the way home to do this video, so I'm not driving. So let me give you my stats for today and for the week. Okay. So I'm going to include Tuesday. It wasn't originally going to be a working day because I have my valet work done, but I did do one job. So including Tuesday, no, so that's weekly, isn't it? So today I will have worked 13 hours and 45 minutes. I would have driven 454 miles, 454. Filled up with fuel again today. It keeps going up. 15.79 pence per mile, excluding VAT. That means that excluding VAT, my cost of fuel today is £71.70. And my earnings for today is two jobs. It's £250 for the morning's work from Torquay to Crediton, Torquay to Crediton, Crediton to Pershore, and then the 150 from Worcester to Slough. So that's 400 in total. Therefore, after fuel, I've earned £328 today, 328. So let me give you my weekly figures. This is based on 4 days' work. I've done a total of 1,332 miles, 1332. I've worked 42 hours and 20 minutes this week. I've made gross £1,295. That was one non-CX job and the rest were CX jobs. My fuel today, excluding VAT, no, my fuel this week, excluding VAT, is £210.36, which means my net earnings after fuel this week is £1,085, and my pence per mile earned is quite good, 81 pence and 40.43, and that's amount per mile that I've earned after taking off fuel costs. Therefore, my average daily amount I've earned this week after fuel is £271.16, 271. So that's over target. And I have, if you take into account £80 a day for the 4 days I've worked, that gives me a hourly rate this week on average of £18.10 after fuel and business expenses are taken into account. So that's not bad. So pretty good week overall. I've put a bid in for tomorrow, a speculative one. I don't really want to do it. It's going from Oakham to Manchester, but I put in a high bid, so if I get it, I'll do the work. Right, I don't think this sound is recorded because of my microphone going off. So let me bring this to a close. Thank you for listening and have a great weekend. What have you learnt today?